Hello, everyone. So, I have looked over all the feedback I have gotten over the past few weeks, and I know I was teetering between two different questions. So, the first research question I was thinking about is what is the overall impact of benefits and challenges associated with the integration of wearable devices? And then the second question I was looking at is what is the overall impact of benefits and challenges associated with the integration of mobile health apps into patient care? So I kind of just chose one so I can just narrow down my paper and focus on one thing. So I decided to kind of also reword the question as well, and I changed it to how does the integration of wearable devices affect patient engagement? And then I kind of wanted to talk about why this is relevant and why it's something that we might want to look into. So we do use smart devices all of the time, and it does collect a lot of data. So I know a lot of people, for one, your phone out can track how many steps that you're walking every day. Also, the most common ones are the Fitbit and Apple Watch. So those are things that a lot of people already wear, and it's already collecting data, even if we don't know it. Also, it allows us to be more health conscious when we're wearing these wearable devices. Personally, I have an Apple Watch. I know it tracks my sleeping pattern, so when I'm reaching REM sleep, the amounts of times that I'm waking up, even if I am not fully aware that I'm awake. Also, your activity level, your standing, your breathing. Personally, my Apple Watch goes off sometimes if I'm asleep because my heart rate drops very low. So that's something that has brought awareness personally to me. And I know also there was, this was a few years ago actually, a woman was wearing her Apple Watch, and her Apple Watch actually saved her life because her heart rate had dropped so low that she was able to get immediate care. Also, it empowers patients, so it allows us to have a say in our care and also be more aware of what's going on with our bodies as well. Also, again, continuous monitoring. So this is something that is monitoring us 24/7 if we have it on. As long as it's on, it is collecting data on us and our habits. Also, it allows for personalized healthcare, so we know what's going on with us when we look at these devices, and then also the doctor is able to listen to all the concerns that you may have and help you make improvements on that. So now going back to the literature I have found. So again, we all know the smart devices and that we wear on the regular, like I mentioned, the Apple Watch, the Fitbit, and then our phones. But I also wanted to look and see if there were other different medical wearable devices that have been researched. I found some sensors that they are researching on, that they're using for research on people with Parkinson's disease and their tremors. Also, I read literature over a wearable device for ECG and respiratory Holter monitoring. And then another one that I never really thought about, but that people in my family have used are different monitoring devices for sleep apnea. It's something that runs in my family, so it basically just shows your different sleep patterns, and people that feel restless or feel like they're not getting enough sleep normally are they stop breathing during their sleep, and so the sleep apnea monitoring allows to show how often they stop breathing and when that exactly occurs in their sleep cycle. And then again, just going back to my video, I believe it was the second week when we talked about literature, just again, some of the challenges that come with wearable devices. And this could go for the smart wearables, and then also some of the different sensors that I just mentioned are data privacy, because again, it is a wearable device, so it does come on and off. So if someone else were to put it on, then that is going to give us false information. Accuracy. So also these are wearable devices have to be worn properly in order for them to collect data. So they do have to be up against the skin, or they have to be up to a certain point of the body. in order to collect that data. Also the healthcare system. So sometimes it can be kind of hard to find a way to get the data that these wearable devices are collecting to integrate into an electronic health record or a healthcare system that it is easier for the physician to see and analyze and go over. As far as like the devices that are like the sensors that are used for Parkinson's disease or sleep apnea, those ones are going to be a lot easier because they're probably already hooked up to something where the data is coming in simultaneously. So as it's being, collected, it's also being transferred over to some sort of healthcare system. It's more so of the wearable devices such as the Apple Watches and the Fitbits that it might be kind of hard to find a way to get that information into a certain system. I guess an app would have to be created, or a certain database would have to be created in order to get that data to go straight over. Next, I wanted to talk about my hypothesis. So the hypothesis I have is the integration of wearable devices into patient care will improve patient engagement. And I want to talk a little bit about the logic that I have behind that. So again, these wearable devices are providing us with continuous monitoring. So again, they're monitoring us as long as it's on, it's collecting data, which also provides feedback on our behaviors. So we're able to see that live. So when, your Apple Watch says it's time to take a deep breath, you need to take a deep breath. If it says that your heart rate has dropped below a certain, beats per minute, that's live. That's currently happening. And so that's something, that reflects on your behaviors currently or what your body is doing in that moment. Also, when it comes to like exercise, it'll tell you how many calories you burned, if you reached, the amount of minutes you should be for your height, weight, and age. And again, that is representing your behaviors and showing you different ways that you are living your life. So it shows your lifestyles. Also, it allows for increased awareness and accountability. So since these are things that we wear as long as it's on, is allowing us to have increased awareness because, again, it's showing us live what we're doing and what we are not doing, how our body is reacting to certain things, how it is not, and what we can improve on. And also accountability. So again, like when it comes to physical exercise, the watches that are monitoring that's accountability. So that's something that we have to do in order for it to track, right? And then also I do know like Apple Watches, you can pick what kind of workout you're doing. So like if you're doing cardio, then your heart rate is getting within that certain beats per minute that it needs to be, or you can see that it's getting too high or it's getting too low for whatever kind of exercise that you're doing as well. Also, it provides autonomy in the care that we're receiving. So it allows us to have a say in our care because we're now seeing what we are and are not doing. So therefore, we can talk to our physicians and have a say in what we think we should improve on and what we should not improve on, or what we need to work on, what we don't need to work on. Also, it facilitates communication with our physicians, especially for the people that have the sensors that are more for chronic illnesses or diseases. So like the sensors for Parkinson's or the sleep apnea, those are things that will facilitate conversations with our physicians and allow us to get more information from our providers on our conditions and what exactly is going on with us. Lastly, I wanted to talk about the research method, the study design, and data collection portion. So still surveys are one of the things that I saw. So basically just monitoring patients' engagement levels, asking them what their engagement is as far as their own care, and then what they think their perceived benefits are of wearing medical devices or just wearable devices in general. And then also Cabrina mentioned collecting objective data from devices, so like the physical activity levels, the heart rate, and the sleeping patterns, and integrating that into, again, some kind of database or like health record, so that way we can see how the outcomes are changing and if patients are engaging a lot more. And then I also talked about analyzing patterns of usage. So how often are people wearing their wearable devices? Are they wearing it as they should, as often as it's recommended? And then also see if there are any changes in engagement behaviors with the patterns of usage as well. Also following patients over a period of time, monitoring their engagement levels before and after integration of wearable devices. So seeing if they're facilitating those conversations before they're wearing a medical device about their health or after. And then lastly, a randomized controlled trial. So an assigned group that would have no wearable medical device at all, or no wearable device at all. And then an intervention group that would probably have a wearable device. So just to measure their engagement by monitoring to adherence to treatment plans, seeing the difference in their health outcomes, and then also their interaction with their providers. Has that increased, or has that decreased, or has that changed at all? So thank you guys for giving me feedback over the past few weeks, and I look forward to see what you guys give me now. Thank you.